taking a look at the PulseChain ecosystem, pumpage today, of course. We started to see it last night, and then it's just gotten even better here in the last few hours. We got Pulse at 4 zeros and 517 right now. Pulse X is 4 zeros and a 3, basically. Incentive token is at $2.15. Hex at 1.5 pennies, and eHex at 0021 right now. The hexes are up 25% in the last day. Everything else up basically 10 to 15%. So looking really bullish. I mean, we've kind of had this confirmation that Pulse has, come up off of that double bottom that we saw here over the late summer, pretty much a calendar year after it bottomed out, in 2023. And yeah, starting to move back on up. And I mean, now, you got to think that we are going to leave those numbers in the dust at this point. I mean, not that we're going to go up only necessarily. And obviously today and the last 24 hours are going to be really nice. But I think we've left those low numbers in the dust, though. I don't think we're going to be returning to them at this point. So, yeah, what do you make of where we're at with this ecosystem right now?
Well, I mean, let's talk about Hex. What happened on...
Let's talk about Hex, baby.
What happened on, I guess it was Sunday. I think it was Sunday.
The sell-off.
Almost $1 million USD sell that, I think the guy ate about $100,000 in slippage just by doing it in one transaction. I think it was 90 million, whatever it was, Hex that had sold. And it was crazy to watch that thing just get eaten up. I mean, so if we go back to the hourly candle, you can see even, let's go further, 15. It got eaten up so quickly. These are 15-minute candles, right?
That's insane.
I mean, so this was the buy, and then it just started to boom, 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 buy up. I mean, that was within 15 minutes. It bought all the way back up from here, and then up to here, up to almost 1 cent. It had dropped down to 0.009. 94, and it within 15 minutes it was back up to 1.1 again. So crazy amount of support. People just looking for those, whether they were limit orders or people just paying attention and saw it happen and said, might be the last chance I get for a hell of a good deal on this price. And honestly, since then it has been just, it looks great. So
yeah,
very, very bullish for that. And whoever was defending the price or a group of however many people it was, but that did not last long. So just keep that in mind, man. There's people out there waiting to get good deals that are going to buy it up. If you don't want it, they are. So keep that in mind and, take advantage when you do see a dip, because these prices could be long gone after this cycle.
100%. And that's what we've been talking about for months now, really, is like, as long as Pulse has been, and then we're talking about Hex, but as long as Pulse has been below sac rate, everything's pretty much just been an auto buy. And right here, this last 24 hours, and again, we're not like out of the woods yet. It's not crazy or anything, but you can see how these things do turn on a dime at a price that you were wanting to buy at, or like, maybe I'll be patient in DCA. You suddenly never see again, or may not have a chance at ever getting again, So I think it's best not to split hairs in those instances,
Yeah. And I don't know if it was Rackham, but yes, he did come back. He had, made a video with, I forget who it was. But either way, I don't know if it was him that bought it or who it was, but either way, yes, Rackham Ritual came back to the community after a little bit of a hiatus. And
what did you see his reasoning? Did you see what he said on Twitter?
Well, he said he was going through a divorce.
Yeah.
So he needed some time off to take care of whatever. He also claims that he never dumped anything, which, I know there was a pool of people, a lot of people. There was $20 million of plus of buys that were put into the sacrifice address that came from him and his people. So, I know there were several entities that had big bags, whether, once it got split out, Whether that's who sold or not doesn't really matter. But he claims it wasn't him, that he's been holding the whole time. So there's really no way to prove otherwise. So got to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting to see him back. I mean, look, regardless of what your thoughts are, or suspicions of what he did or didn't do or anything like that, I think to have him back, not knowing anything really, but to have him back for the bull run, I think is really nothing but a good thing, honestly.
Sure.
So I think it's good to have him out there. But yeah, I mean, for Pulse though, I mean, I think we're going to be, we've obviously in part wanted Ethereum to go up, for us and many of the other altcoins, obviously, to go up. And that's really the big thing that we've been waiting for. And now that Ethereum may be, this godlike candle against BTC that it's putting in right now, maybe that's going to start to be the catalyst of this ecosystem really, really starting to rise up here. So, yeah, it's looking good. Is there anything else you wanted to look at in the Pulse ecosystem?
I'm just taking a look at the Pulse ETH ratio here.
Yep.
And it's looking pretty strong as well. So on a nice little trend. So yeah, looking good, guys. Looking good.
And if you zoom out of that, I mean, you could see back when Pulse was returning to all-time lows. I mean, we were just in this major, basically consolidation area against ETH for quite some time, like
quite a while.
May or so of this year. So like almost 6 months before it started to go up. Yeah, so that is definitely good.
Yep.
So things looking good with the Pulse ecosystem. The interesting thing is we didn't really, I guess, because again, things move so fast in crypto. There actually was a sell-off after the court date last week, which I think a lot of people suspected, and it did make sense that would happen, even though we got tremendously bullish news out of that from, every single angle you could possibly imagine, which we'll get to. We did see a sell-off, but now, the next catalyst, Trump wins the election going away, and now we're starting to see it pump. So interesting stuff.